Welcome into the form. We preview the hottest races coming up over the weekend. And speaking of hot races, well, Te Rapa is mouth-watering their card, and taking us through that action is Brendan Popplewell and Aidan Rodley. And what fields we've got to look forward to, of course, two Group 1s on the program, the BCD Group Sprint and the Group 1 Herbie Dyke over the 2,000 metres. Brendan, we'll start with you. I mean, just starting with the BCD Group Sprint, what a race, 6 Group 1 winners in that field.
Yeah, it's the hottest ticket in town, that is for sure. These two Group 1 races, you mentioned there, the BCD Group Sprint, what an outstanding field of sprinters assembled for that race. And the Herbie Dyke also, weight for age, with the interest around the 3-year-olds in amongst the field too. Without a doubt, our two best Group 1s we've seen so far in the 2022-2023 racing season.
And the man on track with you on Saturday is Aidan Rodley, and you're on the course where it's all going to take part. And I'm pleased to say, Aidan, that you're standing in beautiful sunshine as well.
Yeah, it's been gorgeous here. I've been here for a little bit, and the breeze is up a little bit as well, but we've got a drying track, no doubt, and by Saturday it will be nigh on perfect for what is such a, as BP said, a terrific race day. That Group 1 BCD Group Sprint is one of the best races I've seen in years in New Zealand, I believe, and obviously the undercard there, not even an undercard with Herbie Dyke, which is on a level platform, but the Ellis Fillies Classic, and even the grade races. We've got such a day in store for us. Earlier on, I've just caught up with Bart Cowan, the track manager, to ask about what to expect on Saturday.
Yeah, we were a soft 7 yesterday morning, Aidan. We will do a pentrometer this afternoon, and given the day, you know, a bit of sunshine, a bit of wind and a bit of heat, I think we'll get to a 6 this afternoon, and then we'll just keep improving from there.
What do you expect it to come up on Saturday?
Mate, given the forecast, it's fine and sunny, a little bit of cloud around at times. I think we'll be racing on a 4, maybe even to a 3 if it dries right out.
Okay, yeah. Does that mean you put any irrigation on, or do you just leave it as it plays?
Mate, that's a good question. We'll wait till tomorrow morning, and tomorrow morning's pentrometer will tell us what that'll be. But I don't think we'll have to do it. There's plenty of grass on it, plenty of moisture in it. We've had plenty of rain. We've had about 280 mils since Christmas time. So, you know, there's moisture right through the profile. And for this time of year, geez, that's fantastic.
Yeah, the track looks stunning. I think 8 metres of new ground, you said. Could you have it any better?
No, I wish I had about 12 metres of new ground. It would be nicer. But that last race meeting, we had a wet day, unfortunately, and they came off the rail. So they've got realistically 10 or 11 metres of ground that is, you know, pretty fresh.
Okay, what's in store for this track the next 2 days?
So it'll get a mow today. We shifted the rail back yesterday, and given the forecast and given, you know, how it comes up tomorrow morning, we might give it a light roll. We gave an undersow after our Waikato Cup meeting, just because it's had a fair bit of use. So he just wanted to get some more grass back into it, and that does just loosen the top a little bit. So see if it comes up tomorrow. We might give it a light roll, make it a little bit pretty, and then that'll be about it.
Have you seen a better feel for this Waikato Sprint, the BCD Group Sprint?
No, the whole day is a good day, and you know, it's for a racecourse manager, it's great to see, but you know, you want to get it right.
So that was Bart Cowan, and I don't know if I've seen Te Rapa come up any better. It is an immaculate order for what is going to be one of the most memorable race days, I think, in many years, Pip.
Yeah, it's just, well, you don't want to be anywhere else. I think Saturday, if you can't get on track, you want to be tuning in. So let's have a look what's coming up for you on the agenda. Well, we will be starting with the Group 1 BCD Group Sprint. The racetrack is the feature preview as well, the Group 1 Herbie Dyke over the 2,000 metres. Then we turn our attention to the hardest action on Friday evening out of Addington with the Group 1 New Zealand Breeders. The feature preview too for the Fillies, the Group 2 David and Karen Ellis Fillies Classic, and the best bets where our expert tipsters try to find you the best bets over the weekend. Time for one of the features on the form. It is the BCD Group Sprint Group 1 level race number 8, or weight for age over the 1,400 metres. And the two men that'll be on track helping take you through the action on Saturday is Brendan Popplewell and Aidan Rodley. And what a race this is, guys. I mean, 6 Group 1 winners in the race. Imperatrice is obviously the favourite. We've already had movement in the market. Look, is she deservedly the favourite in your opinion, BP?
Yes, she is, because, look, she's a multiple Group 1 performer. She is a 3-time Group 1 winner, and she is at $2.70 and well back to that point as well. You've got to remember she opened at $3.20. Bookmakers actually had both her and La Creek at $3.20, with La Creek has gone out to $3.60. Levante's come in from $4 to $3.80. So a lot centred around those three runners with the credentials they bring to the race. And then you've got a horse like Dragon Leap, who ran fourth in the Railway, Babylon Berlin, 2 Group 1 seconds recently for her, and goes up to 1,400 metres in the interest there with Maven Bell at the $16. But yeah, certainly a strong market move around Imperatriz to get to her price at $2.70.
It certainly is, and of course she does come up with the ace barrier, so we've got to talk about the all-important speed in the race, Aiden. You've got Babylon Berlin up on the pace and Faithful Feet heading with her.
Yeah, I think Faithful Feet will be the leader in this race. I think they made a mistake last time out in the Westbury Classic by taking a sit in that race, and it might have proved a little bit costly for us. So I think it's time to just let her run here. Babylon Berlin will press forward. They do have options with La Creek, whether they go forward. I think they'll be more inclined to take a sit. That maybe gives her the 1-1 and potentially even Imperatriz into the trail. It's an interesting race because this is a lightning track. And we've got such a good field. So I think this will be genuine pace.
Yeah, it's a cracking field, and we will touch on the favourite first, Imperatriz. And look, she's just got a fantastic record on this track as well, BP, so it's good in her favour that it is run at Te Rapa.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you consider that she's won a couple of Group 1s at this venue and unbeaten, as you said, and this is her win 2 starts ago when beating key race rivals. You've got Babylon Berlin in front, of course, then is narrowly defeated in another Group 1 in the Telegraph. Beats Levante, who wasn't quite on top of her game, but we know that she was at her next start, and Dragon Leap was starting to do his best work through the line into 4th position. But Aiden, look, as we've all spoken about, she's high class, she's a multiple Group 1 performer, loves winning at this venue with the right barrier draw. She has some good ticks in the right boxes.
Yes, she really does, and the best of those we'll hear shortly from Mark Walker when we spoke to him on Wednesday morning at track work. She's in superb form. She's just a winner. She's got that strike rate, 11 from 16, and a lot of those at the best company, in the best, best races, and up against some of this week's race rivals as well. 4 from 4 is a very good record. And wasn't this an interesting lead-up? They went for the softer option and went to the Westbury Classic. They didn't have to travel to Trentham. 1,400 metres gets her perfectly set for this 1,400 metres, and also Faithful Feet in this race as well.
Yeah, she's a fantastic horse, and look, one of the deserved favourites, but trying to turn the tables on her will be Levante. And she's coming into this, of course, winning the race last year, BP, and coming into it with nearly the exact same form line as she did last season as well.
Yeah, exactly right, Pip, with, of course, her very narrow victory in this race 12 months ago at the Telegraph when beating home Rockin' Horse, and then on this occasion she was able to get that narrow victory over Babylon Berlin to set herself up, Aiden, for the BCD Group Sprint. Look, we know where she's going to be in running. You've spoken about the pressure in the race. Is there enough pressure for her to be able to finish over the top of them from her draw where she's going to get back?
Yeah, undoubtedly so. She is a top class mare, no question. Just hasn't Babylon Berlin made her work in that Telegraph, and obviously beat her home in the Railway. Let's take nothing away from what Babylon Berlin's been doing. We go back to this race last year and we see Levante as second favourite in behind a Tiaco runner. It's very similar. There's a lot of things the same. Entravier finishes second this day. Will Imperatriz be chasing Levante home this weekend?
Well, that's going to be the question marks, and make sure you are tuning in as we have a look at another contender and, of course, another Group 1 winner, and this is La Creek. And BP, she comes into this obviously with a little bit of a halted preparation, not making her place in the Thorndon Mile with that wet track, but she is a mare that's obviously got the speed fresh up over the 1,400. Yeah,
she does, and she's a tricky one to try and work out, isn't she? And I just wonder if she's a horse you're best waiting for if you want to back La Creek. I do believe there's an opportunity here of waiting and getting a better price for this mare. We know that she's high class. She proved that to us in the spring with her victory in the Arrowfield over 1,600 metres. Now, missing the Thorndon Mile, of course, they were never going to go Thorndon Mile to this race. This has been their next backup plan, Aiden, with not racing in the Thorndon Mile. I still don't want to say that she's not a chance because of what's happened in recent weeks, missing that Thorndon Mile. We know that she's been right on point for that Thorndon Mile over 1,600 metres. There's no reason why she can't run a huge race here over the 1,400 metres first up.
Absolutely, and we've seen that in all her track work where she's been so fast, her exhibition gallops when she's just galloped the house down, her trial as well. She is absolute top class, and isn't this a brilliant addition to this field, having her as part of it, this BCD Group Sprint, because there's so much depth, so much top level quality, and she is right in the conversation for winning this as well. Yeah, I think Katrina Alexander, when we spoke to her earlier this week at Track Week, she was trying to claim the underdog status, but I'm not so sure about that.
No, I certainly don't think she's an underdog. I agree with you there, Aidan. As we now touch on one of the lads in the race, Dragon Leap, and look, he's another that's just got that speed and stamina. And he's a horse that's won obviously over the 2,000 metres BP, but it can do it over the short distances as well.
That's right. I mean, look, a Derby favourite he was back in 2020 to win that particular race, and of course he finished into 4th position. But this is his go, running over that 12 and 1,400 metre distance. We know that he really excels at. Aidan, I feel as though he could be one of those horses that's running on late because of how this race shape will suit him. He's a horse who loves high speed 1,200, 1,400 metre races. You've only got to go back to the way that he won that day at Pukekohe Park over a distance of 1,200 metres when well back in the field. They were running up top. So that's the key for him, and he becomes a top 4 chance because of that.
Yeah, he's flying the flag for the boys in many ways, isn't he? Because there's so many high-class mares in this race. And, yeah, he does have that top-level quality as well. He's run 4th in a BCD Stakes at Group 1 in Australia at this distance as well. Let's not forget that. His track work, by all accounts, on Tuesday morning at Matamata was absolutely first class. And I did speak with Emily Farr. She said he absolutely flew in that track work. So he's going the right way. The now is the test, is the true acid test on his quality, because he comes up against our very best sprinters. How does he foot it with them? On his best day, he's right there. We know the opinion that Wexford Stable have had of him right through his career, but he's going to have to be on his absolute A game to be beating these mares.
And then another interest into the race is the filly, the 3-year-old filly Maven Bell, already a Group 1 winner herself, and BP, she looks suited to the weight for age conditions.
Look, she does, doesn't she? And look, she got here by a very small margin. She got the job done in the Al Manzoor Trophy, and maybe we were expecting a little bit more with how well she won first up, Aidan, and look electric when winning. But they've certainly rolled the dicey with the 3-year-old filly to put her in here up against our best sprinters.
Yeah, absolutely. But she's so deserving of her place, isn't she? You know, she's done what she had to win that day. She just gets it done. There's only one day she's lost, and she should have, by all accounts, by all rights, been winning that day as well. So she should be 7 from 7. She's a high-class 3-year-old filly, and she is well suited at the 53.5 year. That is her advantage here under the weight for age conditions. It is such a stern test in her first go against the older horses, but I've got a feeling she's going to be really competitive.
Especially from Stable Tiako. It's just one of those fields, there's so many chances, and of course a mare that really deserves a Group 1 BP. She's been so close as Babylon Berlin.
Yeah, I mean, when you get so close to winning a Group 1 like she has, of course, when running second in the Group 1 Railway, then running second in the Telegraph, and look, this is her trial to get herself ready. We know that she's a fairly high cruising horse, so she seems to win these trials very easily when everything else is just looking for a nice little trot up. I will say Mustang Valley trial was very good in this as well, who finished into 3rd position. But 1,400 metres has always been a query, Aidan, but what I will say, over that 1,200 metre run at Trentham, where she has been narrowly beaten, so many say you need a good strong 1,400 metre horse to be winning that particular race. But I thought the way that she ran and really competed hard, she might be able to see it out.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they'll take advantage of being right there. So if she's outside Faithful Feet, or even if she's leading, she'll be there just controlling the tempo to some degree, and that's going to be her best asset, especially if she's able to get away with some really sort of moderate middle stage tempo sort of furlongs, and that could really bring her into it on what she's been doing well and good. And like you say, from that trial there were a couple of okay ones in behind. Maybe they're not in the exact right race, but Mustang Valley's trial was superb, and again she's one of those Group 1 winners. And right in behind them, Bonnie Lass, who had never let go. I don't want to be talking about this race without mentioning Bonnie Lass, because while she's up against it, she is a very, very high class mare, and we've got our fingers crossed.
So you should be, Aidan. Good luck to you. And I think every single horse in that race deserves their place. So let's hear from some of the key connections. We'll start with Katrina Alexander. And Aidan just asked her how the Thorndon Mile did change the plans.
I've actually been quite pleased with her. She seemed to enjoy a trip away. She ate very well away, so that in itself was probably a positive exercise regardless. And she's come home and just ticked along as we normally would have. So hasn't really interrupted things as such, other than we're just slotting back in distance now. Obviously, we're prepared to go the mile. It's now just the 14, but she's pretty flexible in that department, and still technically it's a fresh up run for her. So yeah, we'll go around and yeah, she's there to have a solid hit out, so we'll see how we go.
Imperatrice is going probably the best we've had her, I think. We're just training her a little bit different this time round, and she seems to be responding. So, no, looking forward to Saturday. And Maven Bell, obviously up against the older horses, but she deserves her opportunity.
She's very well. She's come through the trip really good. She's bouncy and bright where we want her, and I thought her trial, as I say, was good. So, no, she's very good. So this is a very good field. I think it's probably one of the best preference fields we've sort of have assembled in New Zealand for quite some time. So, no, it'll be a very interesting race.
She's come through her last race really well. We're really happy with her. Her work's been nothing but amazing. So, yeah, I think she'll stay out the extra 200 metres, and everything's looking real good for this weekend. So, yeah, just can't be anything but happy with her.
Yeah, I think, probably he was looking to run further. He's sort of the first up, over the 1,200 metres. He's very impressive, winning, and probably the sprint was just taken off him a little bit. To be fair to him, he had to be in a pretty fresh state for the railway to have a chance of winning. But 1,400, a bit of a gap between runs. He's certainly freshened up and he looks good.
Oh, she's got to be competitive. I think she, never finished further back than fifth once in her life, and that was when she bombed the start by 15 lengths. So, no, she's always competitive. She tries her heart out, and she'll give her best.
This is our plan B. We've got to go round, I guess, now. So we'll just let that race pan out for her, and as long as she has a solid run and finds the line well, we'll be happy.
Is she going as well as what she was sort of heading into the Westbury and the railway?
I think she's going better. She just feels free in her action. She's looks great and bright.
Yeah, there's some key information there. What a race we've got to look forward to, and it's going to be hard to find one on top. So we'll start with you, Aidan. Who have you found on top, and who have you got in behind?
I've got Imperatrice on top. This is her track. This is her race. Just taken by the confidence was just coming out of the Tiako camp. Mark Walker there saying that they've used the treadmill as a key conditioning device for her, and she's responded really well, having the weight off her legs. She's been in superb form, and I think this is her race. In behind, well, Levante is absolutely top class, no doubt. Look, Creek, if she comes in her A game, and yeah, just such a privilege having a share in a racehorse here, and we've got our fingers crossed, as we said with Bonnie Lass. Wouldn't it be great to see her fly the flag?
Oh, good luck to you, Aidan. And yeah, as you said, this is a super race. And the way I look at it is that Imperatrice looks to be the one to beat in the race with her impeccable record here and with how she's come up in confidence from the team. From a betting point of view, I'm here to try and wait for La Creek's price to get to a better position, and she might get to that $4, $4.50 zone. If she does, she becomes an over in the race, and I want to have something on her in La Creek. I like the fact that she can have a very forward position in running, but just away from that hot speed in the race, where she could be in a beautiful sort of 4th or 5th position, stalking those speed runners, and then she might have her opportunity in the race to take it out. So I'm going with La Creek, and I'm also working on the fact that maybe she'll just push out a touch in price, and she could become a very backable proposition as a high-class mare that she is. So I'm going with La Creek, Pip.
And I can't wait for all of the action. It is a mouth-watering race. Race number 8 on the program out of Te Rapa, the Group 1 Weight for Age BCD Group Sprint. Don't miss it. Time for Race Checkers, runners that look to have next up written all over them. And we'll start with you, Aidan. Who have you found for us this week?
I've gone for a race winner and a stakes race winner at that, but I think the best is still to come for this horse. I've gone with Specialty, who was terrific in winning the Dunedin Guineas last weekend, and you can see here he's gone up mid-track and just runs them down in the hands of Brandon May. He beats home Romancing the Moon. Now, Romancing the Moon had beaten home Prowess earlier in the preparation. Here's a horse who'd run very well in a 2000 Guineas, finishing 5th. Had won a Group 3 Barneswood Farm last time out. The start before that. Next time goes to the Southland Guineas, and you'd think, on what we saw from Wingatui on Saturday, he'll go very, very close to winning that too.
Nice, I've gone with a race winner as well. In fact, I'm a bit of a Bevan 2 picks this week with my race tracker because I do like the second horse as well in this particular race. But let's go with Kairu's Pride first of all, because she is on a path towards a New Zealand Oak. She was okay, I thought, in the 8 carat, very unlucky at her following start, and then she got the job done here over the 2,000 metres, being going beyond the mile for the very first time. She was really good through the line. Second horse, Triple Money, is certainly banging on the door of a maiden race coming up very shortly.
And I'm going for my greyhound out of Monaco. And she's a dog that was over the 527 metres last time, Adobe Slice. That's her leading up in the pink rug. She just found this trip a wee bit far. You'll see that over the concluding stages here. She drops out and ends up finishing 3rd. Since this, she's actually filled in a trial. She clocked around a 21.22 at Cambridge, beating a dog called Jason's Cut. That's a really quick time for her. She moves to Sunday at Manukau, so you won't have to wait long. She comes up in a sprint race. Race number 2 comes up with box number 2 for Chloe Watson, and it's not an overly strong field, so I think if she uses this pace, she'll appreciate dropping back to the 318 metres, and she should be winning at short notice. Have a look at the summary for you. Our race track is there. Aidan with Specialty. Kodu's Pride there for Brendan. I'm with Adobe Slice. Bevan's jumped in with Ribbons, and Leith's gone for Waitak after his 3rd in the Guineas. Note them down, and hopefully you've got some longer odd winners there, and one coming up quickly on Sunday. Time to have a look now at the Group 1 Herbie Dyke over the 2,000 metres, another race at Weight for Age, and we'll take a look at the market for you with the 3-year-olds. Do head the betting. Sharp and Smart at $3.20, just out of point from his opening quote of $3. Wild Knight's been a mover in the market, 4.2 into $3.60, and he's a doozy, 15s into 11. BP, can you see value in this race?
Look, there could be a chance, a little bit like the sprint race, where there'll be some sort of movement at the top of the market, which might help those that are on the 3rd and 4th line of betting. And we've already seen a horse like He's a Doozy take some money. Then you're looking at Asterix and Cruise Missile, who are going to be presented at probably further than where they sit at the moment, around that 20+ zone. So yeah, potentially, but. Yeah, good move for Wild Knight and Sharp and Smart. They are the key runners, the 3-year-olds for this year's Herbie Dyke.
I was over the 2,000 metres. So Aidan, who do you see injecting the speed early into this race and making it a staying race?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's just no real speed in this race whatsoever. I've got Sharp and Smart being there by default. And I don't know if they'll really want to be there, but I just can't see another horse who's going to go up and pick up that mantle. I think Cruise Missile can get somewhere handy. Wild Knight, He's a Doozy, and Defibrillate somewhere around them, but it's a race that might just turn into a sit sprint, as we sort of see a lot with our Weight for Age 2,000 metre races. Let's hope it doesn't pan out that way, but the horse who does look in the right position, if it does, or maybe even if it's moderately run to solid, also Sharp and Smart.
Well, let's highlight Sharp and Smart first. He is the favourite here, and look, it was a really brave performance for him running 2nd here in the Thorndon Mile after coming fresh in since October, BP.
Yeah, it was, and it was just a case of, I'm sure Ryan would have loved to have got to the outside of He's a Doozy. He's had to come back underneath that runner. Look, first up on a wet track over 1,600 metres, all those aspects to the race suggest to you here, Aidan, that he's going to be a better horse. Over 2,000 metres, we know he's a Group 1 winner at this distance, so the logical improvement's going to be there for him coming into Saturday's race.
He did the improvement exactly, because we saw what he did in the spring. He showed he was one out of the box. He was doing it on wet tracks, he was doing it on dry tracks, he was doing it over 1,600 metres, he was doing it over 2,500 metres. He is a very high class horse. He gets 1.5 kilograms swing going from set weights and penalties of the Thorndon Mile to the weight for age of this. We don't often see the 3-year-olds really firing in this race, but when they have, and we've got a really high class one in Sharp and Smart, then he's got to be competitive.
He really does, but another 3-year-old that is certainly looks to be competitive as Wild Knight. The market thinks so. He's shortening in, and look, he was brave in the 3-year-old Karaka Million because Opie had to bring him off the rail up the home straight here and try and get him into a position, BP.
Like he was, and to be honest with you, probably Prowess being in front of him was one of the horses maybe they didn't want to be chasing down. Prowess just got in a better spot in the race, and Wild Knight tried to chase her down, but she was just too good on this occasion. I like the fact that Wild Knight was really building and he was getting closer and closer and closer, but Prowess had that advantage on him the entire race really, and that was the key to winning that Karaka 3-year-old Million Classic. But he does look like a type who will go through the 2,000 metre barrier. Aidan, I think we've seen the indications there that he's a horse that will go beyond that, and has been a runner that they've always targeted this race with.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking with Mark Walker earlier in the week, and we'll get to that shortly as well, the main thing we're getting out of that is he's come through that race in really, really good order. They are very confident with him leading into this. And his body of work, this preparation, has been absolutely top-notch, hasn't it? Yeah, he's run second in a $1 million race last time out, in behind a very high-class filly who we will also see here on Saturday. But he's got to be competitive on his best form. And they're great to see at the top of this list is 2 really high-class, promising 3-year-olds, and maybe even 3.
Yeah, you mentioned a 3 because we're going to talk about Cruise Missile. Obviously, one of his main aims, BP, does look to be the Derby, but he's proven already over the 2,000 metres, and he was so game here having to win this race.
Yeah, and of course this was a second option for the team, but what a backup option when missing the Waikato Guineas last Friday with that track condition, pushing into a heavy bracket. We've seen him defeated on that surface, so they decided to let's wait a week, and here he is running down Devildom, who's then run a very good race in the Waikato Guineas. Of course, here is Cruise Missile too, beating home Loose Spender, who went on to win the Waikato Guineas. So look, it's a great backup option, a fallback option for them. Look, he's got a barrier draw, Aidan, and a race where he does lack tempo, so if he does sit behind the right leader, he does give himself a great chance of being in that top 4, top 5 and running a serious race, doing no work.
Yeah, against him, as he was a maiden only 3 starts ago. But when he cleared maiden company, did it with real dominance, a real clinical win. And then just his turn of foot in winning that race at Pukekohe last time out, it shows that he's really high class. Maybe this isn't ideal, just the way the preparation's fallen. But maybe for a Derby point of view, it's even better because it gives Stephen Marsh a 3-week buffer into that Derby, whereas he would have probably had to go Waikato Guineas, Avondale Guineas. He's got this horse humming at the moment. Just maybe not the right race this one, but Derby time, I think, yes.
Well, at the top of the book, we're bringing in a completely different form reference. Is Defibrillate. He's always been contesting these great races and did take out the Group 1 Zabeel Classic. And not only did he beat a fantastic field here, BP, but sectionally he was really great.
Look, he was, and he is a genuine weight for age performer on both sides of the Tasman. And we know when he arrived here in this country that this race, the Zabeel Classic that we see here, him winning, and the Herbie Dyke Stakes were the 2 main races on his dance card for 2023 racing season, or 2022-2023 racing season. I sort of feel like he can get a little bit forgotten about because of the 3-year-olds in the race, and he just might be that horse that pushes into a better price. Look, I know there's a 5 kilo difference between him and the 3-year-olds. I wonder what they do from the barrier draw, Aidan. Is he a horse that can just take him maybe a slightly more forward position? He's drawn out in barrier number 9. Do they look to try and get him in that sort of 4, 5, 6 position, somewhere where he's in a striking spot?
Yeah, that's where I mapped them. It'll be interesting to see the intent that they've got. It's very similar to what we saw in the Zabel Classic. It was a decent lead-up break between his win in the previous in the Jardine Stakes, then going into the Zabel Classic after almost 2 months. And it's very similar here. 7 weeks going into it, but Graham Richardson has the horse really going along nicely. We saw him in track work on Wednesday. He looks terrific. He wasn't really pushed or anything in his track work, but I think that is a sign of real confidence that they're happy with his preparation and where he sits going into this race.
It's a big tick for him, and another Group 1 winner in this race is the Thorndon Mile winner, and he's a doozy. And look, this was a fantastic win from him on a heavy surface. What do you think about him stepping up to the 2,000 metres, BP?
Oh, look, I think it's a genuine option for them, and probably where the options are a little bit limited, they might as well roll the dice and have a shot here, Aidan, because look, he's proven himself this year. He's won a Copeland's and now a Group 1, so why not try and find that next Group 1 that's available? And here it is over 2,000 metres.
Yeah, as we said, he's coming in slightly worse at the weights as opposed to Sharp and Smart, but he's starting to become a real winner, isn't he? He's won 3 of his last 4. They've all been at Group Company, the Thompson, the Copelands, and now a Group 1 win in the Thorndon Mile. And the Group 1 wins traditionally over the years have stacked up through the season. We'll see those multiple winners, and yeah, he just seems to be getting more and more accustomed, becoming a bit of a habit, that winning 2-pip.
He really does, and he's going to be trying to do so again on Saturday. It's now time to hear from some key connections, and we'll head to Opie Bosson first, who just spoke to Aidan about Wild Knight's chances and his ride Campionessa.
Their work was very good. Wild Knights seems to have come on nicely since the Cracker Million, and stepping up to the 2,000 metres, I think it's going to be up his alley.
Yeah, and what about Campionessa? What did you make of her effort?
No, she worked just as well. She was on the outside of me. She's going really well. I think she could be a smoky in that race.
Really happy with him. He sort of missed that trial last week, but so hence I took him to Tauranga on the Sunday, and Warren rode him and he's very, very happy with him. He's pretty forward, especially for a horse that won't have had a run for 7 weeks, but that's how he races best.
Yeah. Andrew and I were really pleased with the progress that he's made. First step up to Wait for Age Company, so it's a big step up. He's raced in his age group, of course, as a 3-year-old. 2 runs back over a mile, and last time out he won, but it was against a pretty mediocre lot. So big step up, but really pleased with the way he's looking, and he's going as good as he can.
And Wild Knight, obviously adding that 3-year-old dynamic into this race. How's he come through that effort, Karaka Million Night?
No, really well, and I think he's a little bit better left-handed as well, and Opie's of the same opinion, so no, we're very happy with him and we think he'll run well.
What about the step to distance for him? Obviously, he's potentially on a derby path. What about 2,000? How does it play for him?
No queries at all. He'll run out a strong 2,000.
Well, we hope he wins. But we think he'll run well. We certainly think he's forward enough to give a good account of himself. But, as I say, first time on Wait for Age. But, we're confident he's going to run well.
Can he do it again?
Of course he can. It's a strong field. There's some handy horses in it. Some of those 3-year-olds, with that 54 on their back. It's going to be hard.
There's some confidence in the camp. So again, it's time for selections. Aidan, who have you got the ring around?
Not a ring around this one, but he's my favourite horse. I'm not going to go against him. Sharp and Smart. He's been terrific the whole way through. No knock on a second placing last time out. We followed him through Sydney and Melbourne and just become... We know what he's like. He's just a great character, and he's got this immense ability. I think he might be one out of the box. If there's one to beat him, I think it's Wild Knight.
Yeah, look, those 2 3-year-olds really do create such good interest to the race. I've been with Sharp and Smart for a number of weeks leading up to this race, and even Wild Knight as well. But I'm just going to change tack a touch as we get closer to the race, and I'm going to go with the Defibrillator horse, who has got the Wait for Age form. Graham Richardson really does know this horse well with the gaps between runs. He did that when he was able to win the Balmerina going into the Zabel, and then the gap from the Zabel to the Herbie Dyke. So I'll go with that runner, when Warren Kennedy to pick up another Group 1 and Defibrillator in our feature. Wait for Age over 2,000 metres, the Herbie Dyke.
And it all gets underway. Race number 6 from Te Rapa. So find out if we get another Group 1 winner or another horse picking up a 2 to their name on Saturday. Group 1 action for the harness Friday night at Addington, and here's Craig Thompson to take you through it.
Yeah, thanks, Philippa. Great to join you on the form for obviously the first harness Group 1 of the season. It is the Group 1 Breeders' Stakes at Addington Friday night. $90,000, good field, headed up by All-American Lover. She's drawn barrier 9. It's not an ideal draw. It's not a preferential draw. Just happened to draw here. She opened at $3. I thought that was a good price. Had a good talk to her trainer, co-trainer Steve Telfer last night about her. Her work's been good since a pretty tough run first up, and there's a bit of confidence in the camp Tim Williams takes the drive. Second favourite, Kelly's Delight, of course, Folklore. Very good winning last start, and that's a video we're highlighting here. So you can see her in the blue colours. Johnny Cox coming 3 wide outside All-American Lover. Gee, they did plenty early here. Kelly's Delight, Manhattan, they were softened up mid-stages here and they dropped out late. But Folklore good. All-American Lover, I think she'll bounce off this race. She had a bit of time between races. As I said, she was on the top end doing work, and she was only one of the top end horses still there at the finish. Have a look at the horses in behind. Life's a Beach and the Woodland Stud colours running out of room, and not a bad run also from Lady of the Light. But if I had to label one, I think she's the class act of the field. Of course, the Group 1 winner of the Queen of Hearts and All-American Lover. One of the better races on the day, and one of the most tricky races on the day, is race number 4. It is over the mile, and it features Krug. Now, the mile, if you don't know, Addington starts on a bend. It's a real tough race to stay wide on the track. More than likely you have to go back off the draw, and from there you're going to take a little bit of luck if you're taking $1.80. Don't mind Corrivelli Star here. Probably not a winning chance, but top 3, 320. Race 4, number 1, will be the early gate speed. Likely leader, likely to trail Mighty Louis if it wants to take a trail, and can use the passing lane. So maybe 320 about it. But here is our Group 1 winner of the Invercargill Cup in Krug. He's a class horse. Carter Dalgetty gets on so well with him. He's on target for the Miracle Mile still. So safety through this run on Friday night, that's where he may end up. But he's got to get through this race Friday from that tricky draw. And you're taking $1.80 on the short price favourite. Best of the week for me, really like Meth and race 3, Mo'unga. He's well named, isn't he? And he's got a bit of speed, this bloke. Trained by Regan Todd. Robbie Close takes the drive. Excellent at the trials the other day, and I think he's the best of the day, depending on what price you can get on Sunday morning. Philippa, really looking forward to what's going to involve the Group 1 race at Addington on Friday night.
Yeah, it's going to be a boomer, of course. That is race number 7 on the card out of Addington, and you can catch all of the action underway. TAB Trackside 1, race number 1 at 5:23. The 3-year-old fillies will go to war in the David and Karen Ellis Fillies Classic, a Group 2 over the 2,000 metres, headed in the market by Prowess at $1.40 now. She's shortened in from her opening quote, and then you've got Safura, the only other runner in single figures, at $8.50. Let's have a look at the speed in this race as well. Where do we see the speed coming from, Aidan? You've got Contagious there leading with Glitzabella, I see.
Yeah, I don't think they'll want to be there with Glitzabella. They were there by default last time out, so they'll maybe look for a sit. Contagious looks to be the go-forward horse, and you'd think that Prowess might even be able to get up and be handy as well, maybe even sitting outside the leader. So Roger James and Robert Well would hold a key to this, but these are the type of races where you might see a filly getting forward. Normally, obviously, this is a type of Oaks lead-up, very similar to what we saw in the Waikato Guineas, where they'll just want to take their positions and not get them out of comfort zones with a view to getting them into a staying zone with bigger and longer assignments ahead.
Well, let's take you back to Prowess taking out the 3-year-old Karaka Million, and there was talk about this race being one of the best Karaka Millions for some time, BP, so the fact that she's won this just holds her in good stead for this race.
Look, it really does, doesn't it? She's a class act. She's a horse who's proven herself to be up against the boys this season by running that Group 1 placing in the 2,000 guineas, and here she is, look, holding out some pretty serious artillery in behind as well in Prowess. So now she goes to the 2,000 metres, and what happens beyond this race as well for Prowess. She could have been in the Herbie Dyke, and had she been in the Herbie Dyke, she would have run one heck of a race. The map is interesting, isn't it? And I just wonder how positive they're going to be, because, look, there's a lot of horses here that are testing the water at 2,000 metres, and she's just pure high class is Prowess, and you can understand why the betting's gone from 150 to 140. I like this video. This is the video of the Royal Stakes. Now, of course, you've got Polygon, who was really impressive in this race, But you've got the likes of Zafira, who finishes into third position as a maiden galloper, has then come out and has won next time to the races. But Secura Girl was really good in this race when finishing into fifth position, a horse that was impeded at the wrong time, and just might be one for those that are trying to find something for trifectas, first fours, exactas. You're looking at the top three, top four line maybe around Secura Girl. I thought she was a play somewhere in that market just with how well she did run in that race. And of course you've got the fourth horse there in Valdezaldo coming out and being a maiden winner recently. So look, there was enough form there in the Royal Stakes to say those horses there, Aidan, can compete, but it's all about prowess, isn't it, with just how, well, she's just a classy animal.
Yeah, a real eye-catcher, wasn't it, from Secura Girl from the video there as well. And yep, Secura, like you say, you've got that confidence-boosting maiden win since. So, and she did it with a fair bit of class as well. She scored by 2.5 lengths, but undoubtedly, from what we saw in the previous video from Power West, and the way we've been speaking about Wild Night in the Group 1, she is the class factor, undoubtedly, and clearly the horse to beat.
Well, it is the David and Karen Ellis race, so we'll head to our key connections and we'll start with their trainer, Mark Walker.
Yeah, she worked quite nicely for her because she can be a bit laid back and lazy at times, and Opie was quite taken with her work, but obviously prowess, you know, she's obviously very hard to beat.
The both of them galloped yesterday as well here, and yeah, they galloped what I thought was amazing, so yeah, we're all go for this weekend and real excited to see what the both of them can do.
What about the 2,000 metres? How does it suit them both?
Yeah, I think Secura Girl, that might be a little bit short of her best, but she should still definitely be hitting the line strong anyway. And Nancy, I think she'll handle the distance quite good at. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one with her. We'll just have to kind of wait and see how she'll go the 2,000. But yeah, no, I'm confident they'll both definitely go the distance and just, yeah, both be hitting the line hard.
Look, it's a first run over further than the mile, and you know, small steps sometimes get you to big places.
Yeah, but she's improved the way you wanted her to going into, you know, an extra 400 metre type race.
Look, I don't know whether she's improved, but probably she doesn't have to. She was pretty special last time out, but yeah, we're happy.
Yeah, she certainly was. So Aidan's selection time, hard to go past the favourite for you?
Absolutely, yeah, she's 4 from 6. She was brilliant last time out, and she looks as though she'll lead up 2,000 metres, so clear cut. I am really interested in Nancy She Rode on what she's been doing. She looks like a really promising horse, but in behind Prowess, it's pretty even. She is a clear standout from mine. BPU?
Yeah, I mean, she picks herself, doesn't she? And that's why she's $1.40 in the race. If you're looking for a bet, I think Secura Girl, top 3, $2.50, top 4. Is $2.10. That looks where, if you're looking for a little bit of value for a favourable selection outside of Prowess, that's where punters will be looking, and that's going to be my line around number 7 and Secura Girl to run top 3, top 4.
And looking forward to it. It's going to be an absolute cracking day out of Te Rapa. Make sure you're tuning in to Tiabi Trackside 1 nice and early for the Punters Lounge to get all the updated info from our key connections at 11 a.m.
Think I'd be happy, but I'm not.
Getting an inside run now, Calf King, but a job to do. Then Golden Fern and Go Ahead Caller. Up front, it's Ammonite who swings wide. Rocked it, finds the inside, and look at Calf King fly, big win.
Oh, it's lonely at the top.
Yes, Calf King getting the job done for us for our best bets last week. Hopefully we can have a little bit better form this week, Aidan. We'll head to you first. And of course, we've got Riccarton on Saturday to look forward to as well. So who have you found?
Try and join you with the star for next week, Pip. I've gone Vindicator in the 4th. The last start run for 3rd was massive. Came from last at the 400 metres and zipped home in a really nice race. Had run 2nd on debut. 2 very, very encouraging performances leading into to Saturday at Riccarton. Race 4 Vindicator, I think we will take the shorts. I'd imagine that he'll come up pretty short, but I think he'll be winning.
Right, I'm going to head to Hawke's Bay and Mark Twain. I was really keen on this horse when it was going to start at Tauranga, but they decided against that with the heavy track condition. He's a horse that has plenty about him, and he does look like he can win a serious race this season, I thought, Mark Twain. He was very unlucky last time to the races, but he was pushing them over the line once he sort of found some clear air in that race out of Trentham. We'll go to race 6 at Hawke's Bay, Mark Twain.
And I'm heading to the Central District's Palmerston North Greyhounds on Friday afternoon. A greyhound called James Panama. She's only had 2 race day starts. This is her winning fresh up at Palmerston North. Yes, it's a small field, but she clocks a sub 26 seconds first up, around a 25.85. That's fair flying. Nice greyhound in behind her that runs second. She then headed to Cambridge. She was beaten by a dog called Big Time Party, who's gone on to win again since, and she had to work to get across to the front. She comes up with an inside alley on Friday into a field that I certainly think looks winnable, and I think she'll be winning a third up as well. So I'm happy to play James Panama as my best bet for Lisa Cole on Friday afternoon at Palmerston North. Let's have a look at the others best bets as well. We do have Leith. He's decided to jump in with a $1.40 shot this week with Prow West at Tarapa. Justin with Kiki Mora at Rickerton in race number 1, starting us off nice and early on Saturday, and Mwanga for the Whale at Methven on Sunday as well. That is the summary of our best bets. Of course, Bevan with Piper's Fling up the top. Thanks to the team for joining us, Aidan and BP. Looking forward to your coverage on track on Saturday out of Tarapa, and good luck to everyone involved in the racing.